Never use the temp and tint sliders to white balance your footage in DaVinci Resolve. A lot of beginners are making this mistake and it's ruining your footage. So I'm going to show you what you should be doing and why you shouldn't be using the temp and tint sliders in a really quick, short tutorial. Cool, so here we are in DaVinci Resolve on this clip here that really needs some help. We've just done an exposure adjustment because it was really underexposed and a noise reduction adjustment. But here in my balance node, I'm going to show you the difference between using our temp and our tint versus a different method that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go to our vector scope so we can see this balance a little bit better. It's very warm, so let's warm or cool it down quite a bit somewhere here, and then I need to pull away from the green, so I'm going to add some magenta back in. So let's see before and after. So we made quite a big difference. I think we could do a little bit more. Let's cool it down more and let's add more magenta somewhere around there. Right, now that's a pretty good result. It's not terrible, but it's not the best result that we could get. And honestly, it feels a little bit juvenile the way that it works. And I know that seems quite intense, but it really just doesn't feel so great to me. It feels like I have less control. And honestly, this is a good way to start breaking your footage up, especially up in your highlights. So if I go in here, it looks like everything's holding together in this footage pretty well, but I can promise you that in other footage, it will start to fall apart in certain ways. So let's take a look at what's happening under the hood that will explain to us why temp and tint isn't the best method for white balancing your image. Both sliders are essentially affecting the gain range of your image. That is mostly the highlights with some influence on mids and almost none on your shadows. That means that your adjustments are mostly affecting your highlights and midtones, but hardly touching your shadows, which introduces some issues. Firstly, we aren't getting a true neutral balance across our image's tonal ranges, just 2/3 of them, which leaves our shadows not looking so great. Secondly, when we cool our image with the temp slider, we are pushing blue into our gain and vice versa, which can cause issues in our highlights. Overall, this is not the way to white balance your image. So I want to show you a different method that's going to help us get a better balance and often a lot quicker as well. So I'm going to reset these just like that. Actually, let's leave it and I'm going to turn it off and do it in a new node. I'm going to go back to my vector scope, and here we want to change to our HDR palette, and in our global we're going to use this X and Y coordinates to actually get a better balance. So as I pull right on my X coordinate, you can see that it's actually pulling us to the right of our vector scope like that, so cooling it down. And if I pull right in my Y coordinate, it's pulling us up towards the red like that. And so we can use that as a method of working. So I'm going to do the same, cooling my image by pulling it to the right, and I'm looking at my vector scope at the same time, and then I want to actually introduce a little bit more green somewhere here, and let's see that difference. So that was before and that's after. I'm going to move to a different portion of the clip to see what her skin tone is looking like. So it's a little bit too cool now. I'm going to pull it back somewhere there, bring back some of that magenta, something like that. Okay, so this is before and after with our HDR log wheels, before and after, and I'm going to turn that off. And this is before and after with our temp and tint sliders. And as you can see, this result just isn't as good. We could try and get it somewhere there again. So why is the HDR offset a better option? Well, it's one of the most accurate, linear and professional methods for achieving a neutral white balance across the image's full tonal range. It shifts the entire balance of your image equally, which allows us to achieve a true neutral white balance across the tonal ranges of our image, and it isn't giving preferential treatment to our highlights, midtones or shadows individually, but the entire tonal range, which is really, really important when white balancing. And that's why our shadows and our skin and everything looks really good in this adjustment, whereas only parts of this image actually looks good. Her skin and her hair doesn't look good. Those shadows don't look good. Let's cool it down quite a bit to try and get a bit of a better match. But yeah, you can really see those highlights down here are just not handling. So that was before and that's after and not looking good. Whereas over here, those highlights are still being maintained. Yes, they are clipped, but they are not clipping in the same way. And this just looks better overall. So there you go. That's why you should never use your temp and tint sliders. It is more professional to use your HDR wheels in the way that I've just shown you to get a much better balance in your image.